The internet has become a fundamental part of modern life, as essential as electricity or running water. We use it for everything from connecting with loved ones and accessing global news to managing our finances and pursuing education. It feels vast, almost infinite, a sprawling digital universe teeming with endless possibilities, information, and communities. From the outside, this system appears incredibly robust and resilient. We click, we scroll, we search, and with near instantaneous results, we are connected to the services and content we desire. This seamless experience gives us the impression of a powerful, decentralized network that could withstand almost anything, a place where innovation can spring from any corner. But this feeling of infinite variety and strength is, increasingly, an illusion. Over the past 2 decades, the open, wild frontier of the early internet has been systematically enclosed and tamed. A handful of colossal technology companies now govern the vast majority of our digital experiences. Think about it. Google and Apple's operating systems run on over 99% of mobile phones. Their browsers, along with Microsoft's, dominate how we access the web. When you search for information, you are almost certainly using Google. This consolidation of power means that the internet's core infrastructure, the very foundation upon which everything else is built, is controlled by an astonishingly small number of corporate gatekeepers. This situation is much like a forest that has been replaced by a scientific tree plantation. A natural forest is a complex, messy, and incredibly resilient ecosystem, full of countless species of trees, plants, fungi, and animals all interacting. A tree plantation, on the other hand, consists of just 1 or 2 species of trees, planted in neat, orderly rows. It might look efficient and strong from a distance, a perfect picture of managed growth. But this monoculture is profoundly fragile. If a single disease or pest specific to that one tree species arrives, it can wipe out the entire forest in a shockingly short period of time. There is no diversity to halt the spread, no alternative species to fill the gap. Our modern internet is becoming that tree plantation. We have allowed the digital landscape to be clear-cut and replanted with just a few dominant corporate species. We rely on Amazon Web Services to host a huge portion of the internet, we trust a few DNS providers to direct our traffic, and we use a small set of platforms to communicate and share. While this system is optimized for profit and control, it has created a hidden, systemic fragility. We have built a digital world that looks powerful and orderly on the surface, but underneath, it is a monoculture vulnerable to collapse from a single point of failure, a digital blight that could take it all down. The theoretical weakness of this digital monoculture has been proven time and time again through real-world failures, events that have peeled back the curtain to reveal the system's precariousness. One of the earliest and most startling examples was the Howard Street Tunnel fire in Baltimore back in 2001. A freight train derailment caused a fire that melted a massive bundle of fiber optic cables. Multiple internet service providers, believing they had built-in redundancy by using different networks, discovered that their supposedly separate physical cables all ran through the same single tunnel. The result was a massive internet and communications blackout across the United States East Coast, demonstrating that technological diversity on paper means nothing without true physical and infrastructural diversity. A more recent and widespread example was the DIN cyber attack in 2016. DIN was a major domain name system provider, essentially one of the internet's core address books that translates human-readable web addresses like google.com into the IP addresses that computers use to find them. Attackers used a botnet of hacked everyday devices like baby monitors and printers to flood DIN with an overwhelming amount of traffic. This attack on a single critical company brought down huge portions of the internet, making sites like Amazon, PayPal, Twitter, and the New York Times inaccessible for hours. It was a powerful lesson in how crippling the internet can become when so much of it depends on one service. The problem isn't just limited to malicious attacks. It can also stem from simple human error within these centralized giants. In 2021, a single customer of the cloud computing service Fastly changed a setting in their account, which inadvertently triggered a bug in Fastly software. This one action led to a global outage that took down major websites, including government portals, news outlets, and e-commerce platforms like Reddit and The Guardian. The fragility of the system was laid bare. A single bug at a single company could effectively switch off a significant portion of the global web. The incident highlighted just how interconnected and dangerously dependent we are on these few choke points. These events are the warning signs, the digital equivalent of a forest showing the first signs of disease. They reveal that our internet, for all its perceived complexity, has single points of failure that can cause cascading disruptions across the entire ecosystem. We have traded the messy resilience of a diverse network for the brittle efficiency of a centralized one. When one of these central pillars trembles, the entire structure is at risk of collapse. The convenience of relying on a few trusted giants comes at the hidden cost of profound systemic vulnerability, a price we have already paid several times and will continue to pay if nothing changes. So how do we begin the process of rewilding the internet and restoring the diversity that makes an ecosystem truly strong? The task is complex, but the path forward involves a combination of regulatory action, technological innovation, and a fundamental shift in how we fund public digital infrastructure. The first step is to reinvigorate antitrust enforcement. For decades, the primary concern of monopoly regulation was whether a company's dominance led to higher prices for consumers. We need to adopt a broader view that recognizes how monopolies harm innovation, suppress competition, and concentrate power, even when the service appears free. This means blocking anti-competitive acquisitions and scrutinizing how tech giants use their dominance in one market to control another. Another crucial strategy is to mandate interoperability. This is the principle that different services and platforms should be able to communicate and work with each other. Imagine if you could only send emails to people who use the same email provider as you. It would be incredibly limiting. We need to apply that same logic to social media and messaging apps. Laws like those being explored in the European Union could force dominant platforms to open up their systems, allowing users of a smaller, independent service to connect with users on a massive platform. This would break down the walled gardens that trap users, giving smaller projects a real chance to compete and thrive by allowing people to choose their service without losing their network. We must also rethink how we fund the internet's essential tools. Many free tools, like web browsers, are funded through opaque deals where search engines pay billions to be the default option, further entrenching the dominance of companies like Google. A more sustainable and equitable model would be to create new public funding mechanisms. For instance, a small, transparent levy on the massive profits of search engine giants could be used to create a public fund. This fund, governed by a diverse group of stakeholders, could then support the development of open-source browsers, privacy-protecting tools, and other essential pieces of digital infrastructure, freeing them from corporate control and ensuring they serve the public good. Finally, we need to actively support and cultivate the diverse, alternative projects that already exist. This includes community-run networks that provide internet access in underserved areas, known as altnets. It means promoting federated systems like the Fediverse, a collection of independent social media servers that can all talk to each other, offering a real alternative to centralized platforms like Twitter or Facebook. We can also strengthen organizations like Internet Exchange Points, which are neutral physical locations where different networks connect. By investing in and promoting these pockets of diversity, we can begin to reintroduce the variety and resilience that our digital ecosystem so desperately needs. Ultimately, rewilding the internet requires a change in our collective mindset. We must stop seeing the internet as a product delivered to us by a few benevolent corporations, and start seeing it for what it should be, a shared living ecosystem that we all have a stake in cultivating. Just as a healthy forest depends on the complex interplay of countless different organisms, a healthy internet depends on a rich diversity of services, protocols, and communities. This ecosystem needs to be messy, a little chaotic, and constantly evolving because it is in that dynamic environment that true innovation, freedom, and resilience are born. It's a space where no single company gets to be a permanent king of the forest. This is a call to action for all of us. As users, we can make conscious choices to support smaller, independent platforms and open-source tools instead of defaulting to the dominant players. We can advocate for our digital rights and demand that our political representatives take antitrust and interoperability seriously. For technologists, designers, and engineers, it is a call to orient your work as a crisis discipline. This means actively building systems that are decentralized, interoperable, and respectful of user autonomy, rather than contributing to the construction of more walled gardens. It's about recognizing that the current impoverished state of the web is not normal or inevitable. We must resist the shifting baseline syndrome, where each new generation accepts a more controlled and less open internet as the way things have always been. The memory of a wilder, more decentralized web is a crucial inspiration for what we can build in the future. The goal is not to destroy the big platforms, but to break up their plantations and create the conditions for 1,000 different digital flowers to bloom. We need to foster an environment where new ideas can take root without being immediately bought out or crushed by an incumbent giant, ensuring a vibrant and competitive landscape for generations to come. The internet is one of the most significant human inventions, and its future should not be left in the hands of a few corporate boards. Its health and vitality depend on us. By demanding stronger regulations, exploring new funding models, and supporting a diverse array of projects, we can push back against the monoculture. We can begin the important work of rewilding our digital world, ensuring it remains a powerful tool for human connection and creativity, a truly resilient ecosystem teeming with life, diversity, and endless potential. The Wild Web is not a lost cause, it is a future waiting to be cultivated.